Hi, my name is Adam Dolish. I'm doing my leader on Mark Zuckerberg for Business 399 leadership class. First couple of things about Mark Zuckerberg, just a little background on Mark. Mark Zuckerberg went to Harvard University and he ended up dropping out of school his sophomore year of college to focus on a vision that he had to start his own business, which is now today called Facebook. There was multiple offers from other companies that were trying to buy out Facebook based on his idea, and it was just in the beginning stages of the process of Facebook. But there's a famous quote Mark Zuckerberg has about those early years. In those early years, he said, "I'm here to build something for the long term. Anything else is a distraction." And I love this quote because he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and many times in our lives, we don't know exactly what we stand for, so we'd fall for anything. And he knew what he stood for, and he decided to go follow this long-term vision of Facebook. He wanted something to create for something. He wanted to create something for people to connect all over the world, and I think that was also part of his vision. He knew that he wanted to connect people, and that connection of people is why Facebook is so great. A transformational leader motivates his employees with goals, incentives, and personal team growth, team projects, interactions. And I think Mark Zuckerberg is a great example of this kind of leader. He has this culture to Facebook where he motivates people in teams. He interacts with them. He brings incentives, and I'll go over a couple of those later. This is opposed to a transactional leader. A transactional leader is like an average 9-to-5 boss who is focused on meeting quotas or personal goals to try to keep their boss happy. So their boss gives them like, you have to meet these numbers by this time. And they're just trying to focus on getting that done, that they're not really creating this culture that people want to work for or lead. So like I said, there's not much growth here. Like I said, it's just kind of plugging and playing every day. You're not seeing it grow. You're pretty much just going to plateau the whole time with this kind of leadership. So this culture that I was talking about with Mark Zuckerberg as a transformational leader, it starts with one of the cool things I saw is he starts interns at $67,000 per year. And so I think this number is outrageous because most some internships are not even paid. So I think this number has been able to grow just to the fact that Facebook has gotten so big. So I'm curious to know what the number was when they were getting off the ground running. But that's just a great example of how he values. He tries to get like top of the line people to come interview for this internship. Another great feature is they have a cafe in the headquarters that makes gourmet meals with a 4-star hotel New York feel in there. So people can go eat there at their lunch break, or they can go get a snack at 2 o'clock or whenever they need to. That's a lot nicer than just going to the vending machine when they need something to eat. The headquarters also provides a doctor, a chiropractor, a physical therapist on site to help them with any of their health needs. So this is just someone who's like, if their back is sore for whatever, and it's helping them or hurting them to not perform as well as they need to, they can go to these doctors or chiropractors and go get the help that they need. So like I said about vending machines, they have a unique vending machine because they're stocked with computer accessories, iPhone chargers, anything that they need, so they buy it there rather than having to leave the headquarters to go buy it if they need something. Their culture part 2, they have this annual event like most other companies that has like a dodgeball, kickball, soccer tournaments at a local park, and they usually do this in downtown New York. So that's pretty cool that they are able to do this because they're such a large company. But their main thing about their culture that I think sets them apart is their ability to use team projects to help find new solutions. So they're able to use some of these teams to help figure out problems that individuals might not be able to use on their own. Another famous quote from Mark Zuckerberg says, "Skills can be taught, passions can't." And I think this is a great quote because when Mark Zuckerberg's interviews and when other members of Facebook interview potential candidates for a job, they look more for if that person is driven to try to be great, rather than if they're they look like they could fit the best for the job. And I think that's unique because usually when you go into and apply for a job, they look at your resume and they see, does this person look like they'd fit the job, when really he's looking at your character. So I think that's another great example of how they build this culture. Like I said, Zuckerberg looks for people that are passionately and internally driven, new employees that are hired from, that he feels like fit these qualifications, go into an intense training course that involves coding and hacking. So this is also obviously someone that they can teach these coding and hacking skills. They're not looking for people that already know these coding and hacking skills. Like I said, new employees also choose the projects that they're most interested in working on. So this is also unique because when you're applying for a position, you're usually applying for that position. But they hire a candidate that they feel like has got good character, is driven, and they want to help Facebook grow. And they say, hey, where do you think you feel like you'd be the best fit? So I feel like that's also a change in how their culture is different. So just recently, before I was able to type my papers, some of these lawsuits have come into play just in March and April on Facebook's data misuse. They have 4 major lawsuits. All the lawsuits basically are unjust enrichment of violation of privacy and customer protection and laws. So basically, what I read is that Facebook was able to use, when people logged in Facebook and were using their apps, they were able to tell like location of where they were, and like they were able to tell what they searched the most, and they sold that information to other companies to help advertise more specifically based on that person. And there's over $3 billion so far in lawsuit charges. So I feel like this is something that we all knew that Facebook was using, because that's something that advertisers pay them a lot of money to do, but they crossed that line of invasion of privacy, and that's why they're in so much trouble today. So something to think about ethics-wise is, why did he do this? Was he money hungry? Was he taking advantage of the technology and the ability that the coding and hackers had? Was he doing this for power to try to gain advantage over competitors? The invasion of privacy, so like that's an ethical issue, because people, when they're going onto the app, have no idea that they're using this information, that Facebook is using this information. And just something from another course that I had was the 7 lenses in my ethics class. And the 2 lenses that focus on is profit and character. So profit, were they doing this just to be as most profitable as possible? And the character lens is, do you look at yourself and are you proud of what you did if you were to tell everyone? Were they keeping it behind closed doors, or they were trying to hide from it? And myself as an up-and-coming leader, I aspire to be more of a transformational leader like Mark Zuckerberg. I like this culture, that idea that he had, and a lot of people value that and want to work for him. And you can get a better employee, I feel like, that values your company, that are going to apply for this. Another trait that I would like is be authentic. I want to be who I am. I don't want to, just because Mark Zuckerberg's doing it doesn't mean it's going to work for me. I have to be the best Adam Dolish I can be. And ethical leader, I feel like ethics is a huge part of it. Everyone is so money hungry and so trying to chase a check and try to make as much money as possible. But at the end of the day, you got to sit down and am I proud of decisions that I'm making? Value my employees and make them feel wanted. This is something that I feel like, as I'm an employee right now, becoming a leader or becoming a boss or becoming a manager, I value that when a boss sits down and they listen to your concerns and listens to things that you have to say, that's what helps make them a great boss, and that's something that I would like to be if I become a leader someday. And learn from my mistakes. No one's perfect, so every mistake that you make is a building block for hopefully for you to get better in the future. That's it.